Alright guys, here we are at lesson 12. We are going to be on page 111. Okay? Let's apply what we know about sign numbers. The I can statement for the day. I can solve problems that involve multiplying and dividing rational numbers. I can solve problems that involve negative rates. So, grapes per minute. If you eat 5 grapes per minute for 8 minutes, how many grapes will you eat? If you hear 9 new songs per day for 3 days, how many songs will you hear? And if you run 15 laps of practice, how many practices will it take you to run 30 laps? Go ahead and pause it, answer the questions, and then when you're finished, go ahead and hit start, and we'll get going. All right, all we have to do here is multiply or divide. So 5 grapes per minute for 8 minutes, so we're just going to go 5 times 8, and we get 40. Number 2, if you hear 9 new songs per day for 3 days, so just 9 times 3 is 27. And if you run 15 laps per practice, how many practices will it take you run 30 laps? So 15 for one practice. So this one we're actually going to divide. We're going to go 30 divided by 15 per practice, and we get 2 practices. All right? All right. Number 12.2, water level in the aquarium. A large aquarium should contain 10,000 liters of water when it's filled correctly. It will overflow if it gets up to 12,000 liters. The fish will get sick if it gets down to 4,000 liters. The aquarium has an automatic system to help keep that correct water level. If the water level is too low, a faucet fills it. If the water level is too high, a drain opens it. One day, the system working correctly. The faucet stops working correctly. The faucet starts to fill the aquarium at a rate of 30 liters per minute, and the drain opens at the same time, draining the water at 20 liters per minute. Is the water level rising or falling? How do we know? Well, let's take a look. So, it's filling the faucet at 30 liters per minute, and then draining at 20 liters per minute. So 30, we're adding, so it's going to be positive 30. And 20, it's draining, so we're going to subtract 20, and we get 10. Positive 10, so it is rising. How long will it take until the tank starts to overflow? Well, it's going 10 liters per minute, and we need to get from 10,000 up to 12,000. So we're at 10,000, we need to get up to 12,000. So that's 2,000 liters. So if we go 2,000 liters divided by 10 liters per minute, that's going to take us 200 minutes, so a little over 3 hours. Okay? Number 2. This is on page 112. A different aquarium should contain 15,000 liters of water when filled correctly. It will overflow if it gets to 17,600. One day there is an accident and the tank cracks in 4 places. Water flows out of each crack at a rate of ½ liter per hour. The emergency pump can refill the tank at 2 liters per minute. How many minutes must the pump run to replace the water lost each hour? So, sometimes it gives us more information than we need. We don't need to know this right here. We don't care about it overflowing because there's a crack, right? So, there's 4 cracks. Each flow ½ liter per hour. So, 4 cracks times 1/2, that means it's going out. So we're just going to multiply to see how fast or how much water we're losing. So we're going to go 4 times 1/2, and that gives me 2 liters per hour that the water's going out. Okay, but there's a pump that puts in 2 liters every minute. So how many minutes? Well, it's losing 2 liters every hour, and it can fill at 2 liters per minute. So we just need to run it for 1 minute each hour, and it will replace the water it's losing. Okay? 12.3, Challenger Deep. Challenger Deep is the deepest known point in the ocean at 35,814 feet below sea level. In 1960, Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh rode down to the Trieste and became the first people to visit the Challenger Deep. If sea level is represented by 0 feet, explain how you can represent the depth of the submarine descending from sea level to the bottom of Challenger Deep. So, we're going down, so it's going to be negative. So negative 35,814. Trieste's descent was a change in depth of negative 3 feet per second. We can use the relationship y equals negative 3x to model this, where y is the depth and x is the time. Using this model, how much time will the Trieste take to get to the bottom? Okay, so if I take this and plug it in right there, I get negative 35,814 equals negative 3x. Okay, so we want to know what x is. We're solving for x. Now, we talked about this a couple lessons ago, and we want to get x by itself, so we need to get rid of this negative 3. Okay, now it's negative 3 times x, so to get rid of the times, we divide by negative 3. Even though it's negative, we're not going to add because the problem is a multiplication problem. So if I take my calculator, I go 35,814 divided by 3, negative 35,814 divided by negative 3. I get 11,938 seconds. If I want to know how many minutes that was, I divided by 60. It's 198 minutes, which is 3 hours and 18 minutes. Okay? If it took the Trieste 3 hours to ascend back to sea level, this can be modeled by the relationship y equals kx. What's the value of k? Well, right here, 3. Number 2 we're going to skip. It's just writing equations, and if we look, we're done. So, lesson 12 summary. We saw earlier that we can represent speed with direction using sign numbers. Speed with direction is called velocity. Positive velocities are always represented movement in the opposite direction from negative velocities. We can do this with vertical movement. Moving up can be positive, moving down can be negative. The magnitude, or the number, tells us how fast we're moving. Okay, we could do it the other way around if we wanted to, but we usually make up positive and down negative. Okay? Your assignment is just the number 1 and number 2 in your book. A cookie recipe uses 3 cups of flour to make 15 cookies. How many cookies can you make with 4 cups of flour? Okay, so figure out how many cookies you can make with 1 cup of flour, and then just times that by 4. Teacher uses 36 centimeters tape to hang up 9 student projects. At that rate, how much tape would we need to hang up 10 student projects? So once again, find out how much it is for 1, so 36 divided by 9, and then just multiply that by 10. And then number 2, we're just multiplying or dividing. Use your calculator on this one, okay? If you have any questions, you can always go ahead and email me.